Welcome to High Ground. My name is Tanner, and in this video, we are going to be talking about, well, what is on your screen right now. Skies has left SSG. This announcement actually came out, like 2 days ago or something. Today's the 18th, and this came out on the 16th, yeah, so 2 days ago. And I think even before that, Skies posted something like a GIF or an image or something that said goodbye, or it said whatever, something that alluded to him maybe leaving the team, and it turns out that was the case. But a lot of times NA pros do post things that indicate that they might be joining or leaving a team when they're not actually, i.e. baiting. But okay, so what does this mean for SSG? What does this mean for Skies? So Skies has said that he doesn't plan to continue playing. This isn't the first time he's retired, so it's possible he will come back. Tons of R6 players say that they're not going to be playing anymore, and then they do come back, but it does feel like this is probably the last time to leave Dark Zero and then come back. It seemed like Spacestation was perhaps one of the only teams that he would go to, and now I don't imagine he wants to sort of go to a lower prestige team, which is, a lot of the teams that are generally looking to pick up players. So unless something insane happens, I really don't think we're going to be seeing him back. In the past, he did do desk work. I think it was at the Mexico Major. He was on the analyst desk. A lot of people really enjoyed him. He was pretty good. He seemed a little bit nervous, but I think that was his first time doing something so big. So I'm sure he'd do an even better job if he came back. But again, not to say that he was bad, just to say that he did seem a little bit nervous. So maybe we'll see that. A lot of people are hoping for that, and I think, yeah, while he did say he doesn't plan to play again, I don't think he specifically said that he doesn't plan to do anything related to Siege in the future. So we'll have to see about that. Okay, and so now back to SSG. This does leave a slot open in their team, and largely a supporting role. I was going to show a bunch of the stats for SSG, but I think that's going to make the video way too long. So let's just talk about maybe who they're looking for and the players that have been rumored. And I guess first, just if you guys are interested, I'll just tell you the rumors I've heard, which isn't terribly concrete or anything. But the other teams that I've heard are potentially making roster moves are TSM, Beast Coast, and Mirage. Beast Coast dropping Drip, Anthony, or both, or maybe none. Maybe none of these roster moves actually happen. But if anything, I think those are the two players that do make the most sense to drop. And I do think it's maybe a little bit hasty to drop two players simultaneously, so we'll have to see what actually happens there. And then for TSM, Chalice supposedly being dropped, and we'll see about that one as well. And then for Mirage, I've heard a player being dropped or players being dropped, but I don't know for certain who it will be. I think Melted did do a post that it said like "so long partner" or whatever with Woody from Toy Story, and so that one really felt like a bait. But I mean, we'll have to see. I don't think Melted or a lot of the players on that team have really gotten their fair shake. I suppose particularly Melted and Marmalade with having not really played very long, and I guess maybe even more so Kento, but it seems extremely unlikely that he'll get dropped after just the one stage, especially because he had, I'd say like a decent stage, all things considered, with the level of play his team was at for a lot of it. Okay, so yeah, we'll see if they actually do make roster moves, because Nick said that they weren't, but it's entirely possible that he thought that they weren't, and then the org superseded him in some sort of way. Okay, so yeah, we'll see there. Now, one more time back to SSG. So the players that I've heard their names thrown around to potentially join are, I think the biggest ones would be Kilo, Dexter, and Asian. All of these players playing in T2 right now. And Asian, there was a post on Reddit a little bit ago that was, attempting to leak the fact that he was going to SSG. And I think it said he was supposed to be replacing Skies, if I remember right. And this was before Skies announced his departure. And maybe some people could have seen the Skies thing coming. So maybe that gives a little bit of credence to the Asian pickup, but we'll have to see. That's the only time I've really heard it, is in that leak. And he hasn't been especially spectacular in T2. He used to play in T3 when he was still underage, and recently made it up to T2 after turning 18, right? And he hasn't been terrible, but he definitely hasn't been as good as people thought that he would be. And a lot of players aren't especially exciting looking statistically in T2, but then they go on to T1 and they are quite good. Sometimes players just really don't thrive in the T2 environment. They need the more structured level of play in T1, and that comes with playing on a T1 team. So we'll see if that happens. And then there's Dexter, who's playing on, I think, Rent Free, is that right? And I think he has like some of the best stats in the league, if not the best, and I want to say particularly in the entry department. So I imagine if Asian or Dexter came in, it would be for to play entry, but I don't know that that's exactly what SSG needs. It seems like if they want to get back to their peak form, and maybe this isn't even something that they can attain again, back in stage 1 of last year, Bolts and Rampy had like head and shoulders way better entry stats than anyone in the league. They were plus 20 and plus 17, and the next best player was, I think, plus 7 with Grixer. And so 2 players going that positive on entry on the same day, like they were just incredible. And that stage, they ended up in like 7th place. And so again, maybe they just can't hang the same way. The meta has changed, and maybe the players have fallen off. Not to say that they have, but it is possible, right? I just feel like you probably want them back on those kind of roles. Rampy in the past was one of the best top-down players in the world, Sledge or Buck, and more so Sledge these days because Buck doesn't have the frag grenades. He's not as relevant in the meta, but okay, you know, Rampy has always been quite good at that. I want to say at the SI that they won, that was his main role, was playing the soft breacher role, and then Folt's always been a first entry kind of guy. The roles have been super weird for SSG. Skies mostly played flank watch, but I think he did a little bit of everything. Bosco mostly on the hard support, and I think they were switching around. Pretty much everyone felt like they were kind of switching around roles every few games, except for maybe Bosco in this most previous stage. So hopefully they can lock down the roles. But okay, so that's Dexter, that's Asian. The other player I've heard is Kilo, and I feel like that's got to be the best pickup for them. I feel like what they need more than anything else is another support-oriented player. So Bosco in the past he's played some flank watch, he's played some hard breach. I imagine he'll probably stay on the hard breach, assuming he's going to remain as the IGL. So I don't know what Kilo plays exactly. Maybe he doesn't need to play support, hard support that is. But right, I don't know if you want to take Rampy or Foltz or even Hot and Cold off of the front line. Hot and Cold, not always like a primary entry, but his entry stats last year in the NL were just like insane. So I think you definitely want him. If he's not exactly on first or second entry, you want him at least on the flex or the lurker type position. And then again, as I mentioned, Foltz and Rampy, that really potent entry duo. So yeah, give Bosco somebody else to work with on the back line. Not to say that Skies wouldn't have worked out had they continued to play, but I mean, that's sort of the role that whoever comes in needs to fill, unless they are doing a large amount of restructuring. So yeah, I like Kilo to SSG. We'll see if it actually happens. And I think the other 2 players sound pretty exciting, but they are just a little bit more concerning to me role-wise. And okay, so I think that's gonna do it. I guess, I mean, I stretched this video out pretty long for whatever we had to talk about. So right, a little bit about rumors, a little bit about Skies, SSG. So, you know, SSG has been my favorite team for the longest time, and it was easy to be an SSG fan for a really long time. They were really good. They won SI, they won USN before that. They were one of the top teams always in NA up until very recently, and now, I mean, it's a little bit tough missing out on the major just narrowly last stage, and then pretty narrowly, I guess, this stage, but ending up in 9th place is pretty brutal. So hopefully this works out for Skies in his personal endeavors, and hopefully whoever they pick up does work out for SSG and can bring them back to the top. I would love to see them at the stage 3 major. And okay, I guess that's going to do it for this video. Leave me a like, comment, subscription, and with all of that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.